The emergency lights cast an angry red glow across the medical station. Chief Medical Administrator Veltar moved through the corridors with quick steps. His 4 arms worked at different control panels as he passed them. The Cathari had always been good at doing many things at once. Today, that skill felt useless. Sanctuary's Grace was the largest medical station in this part of space. It floated in the neutral zone between 3 different alien species. The Hegemony, the Alliance, and the Free Worlds had been fighting for over 200 years. They all agreed on only one thing. Medical stations were safe places. No one attacked hospitals, but safe did not mean supplied. The war had grown worse in recent months. Supply ships could not get through the battle zones. Medicine was running low. Food was running lower. The bioluminescent hull that gave the station its beautiful glow was starting to dim. Even the power systems were failing. Veltar reached the main medical bay. Dr. Chrisen looked up from her patient. The Zephyrian's blue skin had turned pale from the plague. Like so many others, she was dying slowly. The disease had spread across 7 different worlds. Millions were already dead. More would follow soon. Any word from the research team? Veltar asked. His translator box made his clicking sounds into words the other doctors could understand. Dr. Chris Hahn smiled. It was the first smile Veltar had seen in weeks. They did it. The cure works. We tested it on 50 patients. All of them are getting better. The plague can be stopped. Veltar felt hope for the first time in months. Then reality came back. How much of the cure do we have? Enough for maybe 500 people. To make more, we need rare minerals. We need special equipment. We need things that only come from the core worlds. Chris Hahn's smile faded. The same core worlds that are too busy fighting to send us supplies. Veltar walked to the main window. Outside, space looked empty. But he knew it was full of war. Ships hunting each other, planets under attack, trade routes cut off. The 3 great powers were so busy trying to destroy each other that they had forgotten about everyone else. What about the other medical stations? He asked. Station Hope went dark 3 days ago. Station Mercy sent a message saying they are down to emergency power only. Station Peace, Chris Hahn stopped talking. What about Station Peace? A Hegemony battle group attacked the Alliance convoy right next to them. The fighting was so close that debris hit the station. They lost their main reactor. Everyone there is dying. Veltar closed his eyes. The medical stations were supposed to be neutral. They were supposed to be safe. But safety meant nothing when you were slowly starving in the dark. He made a decision. Send out a general distress call. All frequencies. All languages. Tell everyone we have found a cure for the plague, but we need help to make more. Ask for medical supplies, transport ships, anything they can spare. Sir, we have sent those calls before. No one answers. They are all too busy fighting. Then we send it again. And again. Until someone listens. Veltar turned back to the window. Millions are dying, Chris Hahn. We cannot give up on them. Chris Hahn nodded and went to the communications room. Within an hour, Sanctuary's Grace was broadcasting on every emergency channel it could reach. The message was simple but desperate. This is Medical Station Sanctuary's Grace. We have developed a cure for the Zephyrian plague. Millions of lives can be saved. We urgently need medical supplies and transport to distribute the cure. Any assistance would save countless lives. Please respond. The message went out into space. It traveled through hyperspace networks. It bounced off communication satellites. It reached hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. Most ignored it. Some heard it but could not help. The war took all their resources, but in a small sector near the edge of known space, the message reached a species that was new to galactic politics. The humans had only been in contact with other aliens for a few years. They were still learning how things worked in this part of the galaxy. Captain Janet Morrison was sitting in her command chair on the bridge of the UHNS Discovery when the message came through. The Discovery was a human exploration ship. It had been mapping trade routes and trying to understand the complex politics of the local space. Captain, we are receiving a distress call, said Lieutenant Chen at the communication station. It is a medical emergency. They say they have a cure for some kind of plague but need help to distribute it. Captain Morrison frowned. What do we know about this plague? According to our intelligence reports, it has killed millions across several species. The war has made it impossible to coordinate a response. Each side thinks the others might use medical aid as a trick. Morrison stood up. And while they argue, people die. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we need immediate medical assistance for a humanitarian crisis. Request permission to help. The answer came back faster than expected. Earth was horrified to learn about the plague. The human government had already been worried about the endless war. Now they knew it was causing a medical disaster. The reply message was simple. Humanitarian aid authorized. Deploy immediately. All necessary resources approved. Captain Morrison smiled. Humans were good at many things, but they were especially good at helping others. Send a response to the medical station. Tell them help is coming. Lieutenant Chen worked at her console. Message sent, Captain. What did you tell them? Medical assistance en route. Humanitarian fleet deploying. Morrison paused. I kept it simple. They will understand when they see us arrive. On Sanctuary's grace, Veltar stared at the reply message. It was the first response they had received to any of their distress calls, but it was confusing. Humanitarian fleet deploying sounded promising, but there were no details about what kind of ships were coming or what supplies they would bring. Who are these humans? He asked Krishan. They are new to this region. No one knows much about them. They seem to avoid the war. Some say they are not very advanced. Others say they are dangerous but peaceful. Krishan looked at the message again. At least someone is willing to help, Veltar nodded. How long until they arrive? The message gives an estimated time of 3 days. But that seems very fast. Most ships take at least a week to reach us from the nearest major world. Maybe they are already close. Or maybe they have faster ships than we expected. Veltar felt hope again. It was small, but it was real. 3 days. We can keep everyone alive for 3 more days. The next 3 days were the longest of Veltar's life. More patients arrived every few hours. Ships from nearby worlds brought their sick and dying. The cure worked, but they only had enough for a few hundred people. Thousands needed help. The station's systems kept failing. The lights dimmed further. The air recyclers made strange noises. Food was almost gone, but Veltar kept hoping. Help was coming. The humans had promised. On the 3rd day, the sensors picked up something. Ships were approaching. A lot of ships. Veltar hurried to the command center. How many vessels? He asked the sensor operator. 12 ships, sir, but the operator looked confused. These are not medical ships, and what do you mean? Sir, these appear to be warships. Large ones. They are not broadcasting medical identification codes. They are broadcasting military codes. Veltar felt his hope turn to fear. Had the humans lied? Were they here to attack the station, or had someone else intercepted the message and come to destroy them? All stations, red alert, he ordered. Raise what shields we have. Power up the defense systems. He knew it was useless. Sanctuary's grace had only basic defenses. They were designed to stop small raiders, not a fleet of warships. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the lead ship. Put it on speakers. A human voice filled the command center. It was calm and professional. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Human Navy Humanitarian Corps. We received your medical distress call and are here to provide assistance. Please prepare for immediate aid deployment. Veltar stared at the speaker. Warships with a humanitarian mission? That made no sense. Admiral Chen, this is Chief Medical Administrator Veltar. We were expecting medical ships. Hospital ships. Your vessels appear to be military craft. Correct, Administrator. We are military vessels. We are also your medical assistants. Please stand by for aid deployment. Do not be alarmed by our operations. Everything you see is part of the medical mission. The transmission ended. Veltar looked around the command center. Everyone was as confused as he was. Military vessels on a medical mission? What did that even mean? Outside the station, the human fleet moved into position. The ships were massive, larger than anything the medical staff had ever seen. They bristled with weapons. Their armor was thick and dark. They looked like they could destroy entire worlds. But then something impossible happened. The largest ship began to change. Sections of its hull slid open. The weapons turrets folded back. What looked like a dreadnought was becoming something else. Inside the opening hull, Veltar could see clean white surfaces. Medical bay lighting. Equipment that looked like hospital gear. By the ancestors, whispered the sensor operator. It is a hospital ship. It was disguised as a warship. Veltar watched as more ships began to transform. A destroyer opened up to reveal medical shuttles. A carrier started deploying what looked like portable hospital modules. This was not a disguise. This was something new. Space around Sanctuary's Grace exploded with light and energy. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace all at once. 12 massive warships appeared in perfect formation. The medical station's sensors went crazy trying to process so much information at the same time. Veltar had seen many different kinds of ships during his long career. He had worked on stations near the biggest military bases. He had treated wounded from the most advanced fleets. But he had never seen anything like these human vessels. The ships were enormous. The smallest destroyer was larger than most species' battleships. The largest vessel looked like it could hold an entire city inside its hull. But size was not what made them frightening. It was the weapons. Every surface bristled with guns, missile launchers, energy cannons, point defense systems, shields that glowed with barely contained power. These ships could fight entire fleets and win. They could destroy planets if they wanted to. "Sir," said the communications officer, her voice shaking. "The station's emergency systems are activating. Everyone thinks we are under attack." Veltar could not blame them. The human fleet looked like it had come to conquer, not to heal. "Tell everyone to stay calm. These are our medical assistants." The word sounded stupid even to him. How could warships be medical assistants? But then Admiral Chen's voice came over the radio again. "Sanctuary's Grace, this is Admiral Chen. We are beginning medical deployment operations. You will see our ships changing configuration. This is normal. Do not be alarmed." "Changing configuration?" Veltar looked at the main screen. "What does that mean?" He got his answer immediately. The largest human ship, the one Admiral Chen had called the UHNS Hippocrates, began to move. But it was not moving through space. Parts of the ship itself were moving. Huge sections of the hull slid open like doors. The main weapons turrets folded back into hidden compartments. Armor plates shifted and rotated. The dark military gray changed to clean medical white. In less than 5 minutes, the dreadnought had become a hospital ship. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Chris Hun. She had joined Veltar in the command center when the alarm started. That ship just changed. How is that possible? Veltar watched as more ships began their transformations. A destroyer called the Florence Nightingale opened up its forward section. Inside were medical shuttles and supply containers. A heavy cruiser named the Red Cross deployed what looked like an entire hospital from its cargo bays. They are not disguised as warships, Veltar realized. They are actually warships, but they are also actually medical ships. Both at the same time. The human fleet's transformation continued. Each ship revealed medical capabilities that should have been impossible. Aircraft carriers launched medical shuttles instead of fighters. Battleships opened to show surgical theaters and patient wards. Destroyers became ambulance ships. "Sanctuary's Grace, this is the UHNS Florence Nightingale," came a new voice over the radio. "We are launching medical shuttles to your station. Please clear Docking Bay 3 for emergency supplies. We have everything you need to produce the plague cure." Veltar blinked. "They know about the cure? How do they know what supplies we need?" "Administrator Veltar," Admiral Chen's voice returned. "We analyzed your distress call. Our medical AI system studied the information you provided about the plague. We know exactly what you need to mass-produce the cure. We brought everything." The first human shuttle docked with Sanctuary's Grace 20 minutes later. Veltar went to meet it personally. He wanted to see these humans who had brought impossible ships to help strangers. The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. The first person to step out was a human woman in strange armor. It looked like medical equipment and military gear combined into one suit. She carried a weapon on her hip and a medical scanner in her hand. "Administrator Veltar, I am Colonel Dr. Marcus Webb, Human Navy Medical Corps. I will be leading the medical team." The human's voice was calm and confident. Veltar looked at the human's uniform. It had both military rank symbols and medical credentials. "Colonel Doctor? Are you a soldier or a physician?" "Both," Dr. Webb replied simply. "In the human navy, there is no difference. We protect what we heal. We heal what we protect." More humans came out of the shuttle. They all wore the same strange armor. They all carried both weapons and medical equipment. Some pushed floating containers marked with both military symbols and medical crosses. "Dr. Webb, I do not understand. Why are your medical teams armed? This is a hospital station. We are neutral." Dr. Webb looked at Veltar with serious eyes. Administrator, in the 3 days since you sent your distress call, how many supply ships have been attacked trying to reach medical stations? Veltar thought about it. 7 ships were destroyed. 2 more were captured. The crews are probably dead. Exactly. Medical supplies are valuable during wartime. Neutral zones are still targets. Your station may be protected by law, but laws mean nothing to desperate people. Dr. Webb gestured to his armed medical team. We ensure that medical aid reaches those who need it. By any means necessary. Veltar began to understand. The humans had not brought warships to threaten anyone. They had brought warships to protect their medical mission. In a galaxy at war, only strength could guarantee that mercy would survive. Show us to your research laboratory, Dr. Webb continued. We need to analyze your cure and begin mass production immediately. My team brought enough equipment to supply medicine for 10 million people. 10 million? Veltar could barely believe it. But the rare minerals alone would cost more than most planets produce in a year. Humanity has decided that saving lives is worth any cost. Money means nothing compared to preventing suffering. Dr. Webb started walking toward the medical bay. We brought enough supplies to cure this plague on every affected world. But first, we need to make sure your station is secure. As they walked through the station, Veltar saw more human medical teams arriving. They moved with military precision but carried healing equipment. They set up defensive positions while deploying medical scanners. Everything they did seemed to serve both purposes: protection and healing. In the research laboratory, Dr. Webb's team went to work immediately. They studied the plague cure with advanced equipment. They tested it against samples of the disease. They improved the formula to make it work faster and better. Your cure is excellent, Dr. Webb told the Cathari research team. But we can make it better. Our nanomedicine can target the disease at the cellular level. We can reduce the cure time from days to hours. Dr. Krisan watched the humans work. I have never seen medical technology like this. How advanced is your civilization? Advanced enough to help, Dr. Webb replied. But technology is not what makes us effective. It is our philosophy. We believe that anything worth healing is worth fighting for. Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Veltar grabbed his communicator. What is happening? Sir, we have multiple ships approaching. They are not responding to our calls. Sensors indicate they are hegemony raiders. Veltar felt fear return. Raiders often attacked medical stations during wars. They stole supplies and sold them to the highest bidder. Sometimes they captured medical staff to force them to work as slaves. How many ships? Dr. Webb asked calmly. 8 attack vessels. They are fast and well armed. Our defenses cannot stop them. Dr. Webb touched something on his armor. Admiral Chen, we have incoming hostiles. 8 raiders targeting the medical station. Admiral Chen's voice came back immediately. Copy that, Dr. Webb. All human medical personnel continue your work. Marine units, defensive positions. This is exactly what we trained for. Veltar watched in amazement as the human medical teams reacted to the threat. Half of them continued working on the cure without pause. The other half smoothly transformed into a defensive force. They did not panic. They did not stop their medical work. They simply adapted. Outside the station, the human fleet reconfigured again. Medical bays closed temporarily. Weapon systems came online. The ships that had been hospitals became warships again. But this time, Veltar understood what he was seeing. These were not warships pretending to be medical vessels. They were not medical ships trying to fight. They were something new. Something that should not exist, but did. They were both things at once, perfectly balanced between healing and protecting. The hegemony raiders approached quickly. They were expecting an easy target. A helpless medical station with weak defenses. They had done this many times before. Medical facilities never fought back effectively. They were not prepared for what happened next. The human fleet did not just defend the station. They surrounded it. 12 massive warships created a defensive sphere that nothing could penetrate. Admiral Chen's voice broadcast on all frequencies. Attention raider vessels. You are approaching a medical facility under human protection. Turn back immediately or face the consequences. The lead raider ship replied with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward Sanctuary's grace. They never reached their target. The human defensive network stopped everything. What followed was not really a battle. It was a demonstration. The human fleet disabled the raider ships without destroying them. They used precise weapons that knocked out engines and weapons but left life support intact. Admiral Chen broadcast again. Raider vessels, you are disabled but alive. You will be towed to the nearest doctor. Webb finished the last adjustment to the plague cure production system. The human equipment hummed quietly as it began creating medicine that would save millions of lives. Around him, the research laboratory buzzed with activity from both human and alien medical teams working together. Veltar watched the humans work with growing amazement. They did everything with the same calm efficiency they had shown during the raider attack. Dr. Webb moved between medical equipment and tactical displays without pause. His team treated patients while monitoring defensive sensors. "Dr. Webb, may I ask you something?" Veltar said during a brief quiet moment. "Of course, Administrator. What would you like to know? How did your people learn to combine medicine and warfare so perfectly? In this galaxy, they are always seen as opposites. Healers do not fight. Soldiers do not heal." Dr. Webb smiled and continued working on a patient while he spoke. "It started with our combat medics, soldiers who ran into battle to save the wounded. They had to fight their way to injured people, then fight their way back to safety. We learned that sometimes healing requires courage. But your ships? They are not just medics with weapons. They are complete warships that can become complete hospitals. That came later. We realized that in a hostile universe, medical aid is meaningless if it cannot reach those who need it. So we built ships that could fight their way to medical emergencies, then provide the best possible care." Dr. Webb checked his patient's vital signs. "The Hippocrates can perform surgery while under fire. The Florence Nightingale can evacuate wounded from active battlefields." Dr. Chris Hun looked up from her own work. "But does that not make you targets? If you carry weapons, the warring factions will attack you." "They can try," Dr. Webb replied calmly. "But we are not easy targets. Our medical ships are also some of the most powerful warships in human space. Attacking us means facing the full strength of human military medicine." Veltar tried to understand this concept. "Military medicine? Is that not a contradiction?" "Not to us. We see it as the highest form of both disciplines, military precision applied to saving lives, medical dedication protected by military strength." Dr. Webb moved to another patient. "We fight not to destroy our enemies, but to preserve our ability to heal anyone who needs help." A communication alert sounded. Admiral Chen's voice came through the speakers. "All stations, we have a developing situation. Multiple distress calls are coming in from affected worlds. The plague has spread to 3 more systems in the past day." Dr. Webb immediately shifted to full command mode. "Admiral, what is our medical assessment? Conservative estimates suggest 15 million people need immediate treatment. The Zephyrian homeworld is the worst affected. Their government has collapsed. No one is coordinating relief efforts." Veltar felt overwhelmed. 15 million? Even with your advanced production systems, that will take months. Not if we work efficiently." Dr. Webb turned to face the command display. "Admiral, I recommend we split the fleet. Deploy medical task forces to each affected system simultaneously." "Agreed. But that will leave each group vulnerable to attack. The war zones are very active right now. Then we make it clear that attacking medical operations carries consequences." Dr. Webb's voice became harder. "Any faction that interferes with plague treatment will face human military medicine at its most determined." Veltar listened to this exchange with growing understanding. The humans were not just offering to help with the current crisis. They were preparing to transform how medical aid worked in this war-torn galaxy. "Dr. Webb," he said quietly, "what you are proposing, it will change everything. If you establish protected medical zones in active war areas, you will be challenging the authority of all 3 major powers." "Good. Someone needs to challenge them. Their war has killed millions and prevented treatment for millions more. It is time for that to stop." Dr. Webb looked directly at Veltar. "We did not come here just to treat this plague. We came to establish a principle. Medical aid reaches everyone who needs it, regardless of politics or military situations." Admiral Chen's voice returned. "Fleet division orders are ready. Hippocrates Group takes the Zephyrian homeworld. Nightingale Group handles the border systems. Discovery Group manages the contested zone. All groups maintain full medical and military readiness." Dr. Webb nodded to his team. "You heard the Admiral. Pack the mobile medical equipment. We have a homeworld to heal. As the human medical teams prepared to leave, Veltar realized he was witnessing something historic. These humans were not just responding to a medical emergency. They were creating a new model for how civilized species should behave during wartime. Administrator, Dr. Webb said as he gathered his equipment. Would you like to come with us? Your experience with the plague cure would be valuable, and you should see how human medical ships operate in hostile territory. Veltar hesitated. I am not a soldier. I have never been in a war zone. Neither were we originally. We were doctors who learned to fight because fighting became necessary to continue healing. Dr. Webb smiled. Come with us. Learn how medicine works when it has the strength to protect itself. 2 hours later, Veltar found himself aboard the UHNS Hippocrates. The ship was everything Dr. Webb had promised. Medical bays that could become battle stations. Operating theaters protected by armor plating. Weapons systems controlled by medical officers. Admiral Chen met them in the main medical bay. Welcome aboard, Administrator. I hope you find our operations educational. Veltar looked around the medical bay. It was larger and better equipped than most planetary hospitals. Admiral, this is incredible. But why build medical ships this powerful? Because healing is too important to be left defenseless. We learned that lesson the hard way. Admiral Chen led them to the command center. Our first medical missions were disasters. Ships were destroyed, medical teams were killed or captured, patients died because help could not reach them safely. The command center was unlike anything Veltar had seen. Half the displays showed medical information, patient status, treatment progress, supply levels. The other half showed tactical data, ship positions, threat assessments, defensive capabilities. So we changed our approach, Admiral Chen continued. We built ships that could not be stopped by normal military forces. Ships that could fight their way to any medical emergency and provide aid under any conditions. But Admiral, Veltar asked, what if someone challenges your authority? What if the major powers refuse to accept your presence in their territory? Admiral Chen's expression became serious. Then they will learn what human determination looks like. We did not cross interstellar space to be turned away by politicians and generals. People are dying. We will save them. Anyone who tries to stop us will face the consequences. The Hippocrates dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system. Immediately, the tactical displays lit up with warnings. This system was a war zone. Hegemony and alliance fleets were fighting for control while the Zephyrian homeworld suffered below them. Multiple contacts, reported the tactical officer. 2 major fleet actions in progress. Debris fields indicating recent battles. The planet is under partial blockade by both sides. Admiral Chen studied the displays calmly. Standard approach. We treat this as a medical emergency in a hostile environment. Configure for simultaneous humanitarian and combat operations. Veltar watched as the human crew prepared for what seemed impossible. They were going to provide medical aid to a planet in the middle of an active war zone. Admiral, both fleets will try to stop you. They will see your ships as threats. Let them try. Admiral Chen activated the ship's communication system. All vessels in the Zephyrian system. This is Admiral Chen of the United Human Navy Humanitarian Corps. We are here to provide medical aid for the plague outbreak. Any interference with medical operations will be met with appropriate force. The response came quickly. A hegemony fleet commander's voice filled the bridge. Human vessel, you are entering a restricted military zone. Turn back immediately or be destroyed. An alliance commander spoke next. Human ship, this system is under alliance protection. Leave now or face the consequences, Admiral Chen replied without emotion. Both fleets are advised that we are conducting medical operations under human protection. We will not be turned away. We will not be threatened. We will not be stopped. Medical shuttles are launching now. Veltar felt terrified as the human ship began launching medical shuttles toward the planet. The 2 fleets would surely attack. The humans would be destroyed. He would die in the crossfire. But something unexpected happened. Both enemy fleets hesitated. The Hippocrates was clearly a warship, but it was also clearly providing medical aid. It was doing exactly what it claimed, conducting humanitarian operations. More importantly, the ship showed no fear. It continued its medical mission despite being outnumbered and surrounded. It acted like it had every right to be there and dared anyone to challenge that right. Dr. Webb joined them on the bridge. First shuttle has reached the planet's surface. Plague casualties are worse than estimated. We need to establish a treatment center immediately. Approved. Begin full medical deployment. Admiral Chage neutral port and released. Consider. 3 months after the first human medical fleet arrived at Sanctuary's Grace, the galaxy was beginning to change. Veltar stood in the command center of the UHNS Hippocrates, watching status reports flow in from dozens of different systems. Each report told the same story. Human medical ships were saving lives everywhere they went. The scope of the human operation was beyond anything anyone had imagined. What started as a response to one medical station's distress call had become the largest humanitarian effort in galactic history. 12 ships had become 50. 50 had become a network of mobile medical fortresses that spanned half the known galaxy. Administrator, Admiral Chen said as she joined Veltar at the main display. The latest numbers are in. We have treated over 20 million plague victims. The disease is under control on 14 worlds. Mortality rates have dropped by 90%. Veltar shook his head in amazement. 20 million people. My species has run medical stations for over 1,000 years. We have never saved so many lives so quickly. The difference is not technology, Admiral Chen replied. The difference is commitment. We refuse to accept that war makes healing impossible. We make healing possible despite the war. Dr. Webb approached them with a datapad. Admiral, we have an interesting development. The Cathari government has officially requested human medical protection for all their hospital ships. They want to convert their medical fleet to follow our model. What does that mean? Veltar asked. It means they want to arm their medical ships and train their medical staff for combat operations. They have seen how effective our approach is. Dr. Webb showed them the datapad. They are not the only ones. 7 different species have made similar requests. Admiral Chen studied the information. This is what we hoped would happen. Other species are learning that medical aid and military protection can work together. Veltar thought about his own people. The Cathari had always believed in peaceful medicine. They avoided violence whenever possible, but they had also watched helplessly as their medical stations were attacked and their supplies were stolen. Dr. Webb, would humans be willing to help train other species in your methods? Of course. That was always part of our plan. We cannot be everywhere at once. But if we can teach others to combine healing with protection, medical aid will become much more effective across the galaxy. A communication alert interrupted their conversation. The tactical officer called out from her station. Admiral, we are receiving a priority message from the Alliance High Command. They want to speak with you directly. Admiral Chen moved to the command chair. Put them through. The main screen showed an Alliance admiral in full military dress uniform. His expression was serious but not hostile. Admiral Chen, I am Admiral Tekvar of the Alliance Strategic Command. We need to discuss the human medical operations in our territory. Admiral Tekvar, what would you like to discuss? Your ships have been operating in active war zones for 3 months. You have ignored military boundaries. You have refused to follow standard protocols, yet you have saved millions of lives. The Alliance Admiral paused. We want to understand your intentions, Admiral Chen replied without hesitation. Our intention is to provide medical aid to anyone who needs it, regardless of political affiliation or military situation. We will continue to do so as long as the war creates medical emergencies. And if we order you to leave Alliance space, then you will be ordering us to let Alliance citizens die from preventable diseases. Is that really what Alliance leadership wants? Admiral Chen's voice remained calm but firm. Admiral Tekvar was quiet for a moment. Admiral Chen, the Alliance Council has been debating human medical operations for weeks. Some want to classify your ships as illegal military forces. Others want to declare you humanitarian heroes. What do you want to declare us as? Essential. Admiral Tekvar's expression softened slightly. Admiral Chen, your ships have saved more Alliance lives in 3 months than our own medical services have saved in 3 years. The plague outbreak would have killed millions of our people without human intervention. Veltar watched this exchange with fascination. A major military power was essentially admitting that human medical ships had become necessary for their survival. The Alliance Council has a proposal. Admiral Tekvar continued. We want to establish formal cooperation between Alliance forces and human medical ships. Joint operations. Shared intelligence. Coordinated humanitarian efforts. Under what conditions? Admiral Chen asked. That you continue doing exactly what you are already doing. Provide medical aid to anyone who needs it. We will not interfere with your operations. In exchange, we ask that you coordinate with our forces when possible to maximize the effectiveness of humanitarian efforts. Admiral Chen considered this carefully. And if Alliance operations conflict with our medical missions, then medical missions take priority. The Alliance Council has voted. Saving lives is more important than winning battles. This was unprecedented. A major military power was officially stating that humanitarian concerns outweighed military objectives. Veltar realized he was witnessing a fundamental shift in galactic politics. We accept the Alliance proposal, Admiral Chen said, but understand that we will provide medical aid to hegemony and free world citizens as well. Our commitment is to healing, not to any particular political faction. We understand. And Admiral Chen, the hegemony has sent similar messages. They want the same cooperation agreement. After the communication ended, Dr. Webb smiled at Veltar. Do you see what is happening? The war is still going on, but both sides now prioritize medical aid over military advantage. How did you accomplish this in only 3 months? We proved that medical ships could be more powerful than warships. Not because of their weapons, but because of their moral authority combined with their ability to defend that authority. Dr. Webb pointed to the status display. Every time someone attacked a human medical ship, we stopped them. Every time someone tried to prevent us from providing aid, we provided it anyway. But there must have been resistance. The military powers have been fighting for centuries. They would not give up control easily. Admiral Chen rejoined their conversation. There was resistance. 3 weeks ago, a hegemony battle group tried to prevent us from treating plague victims on a contested world. They claimed medical neutrality was a trick to help Alliance forces. What happened? We treated Alliance soldiers, hegemony soldiers, and civilian casualties side by side in the same medical facility. When the hegemony battle group commander saw his own wounded troops receiving the best possible care from human doctors, he realized we were telling the truth about medical neutrality. Dr. Webb nodded. That commander is now one of our strongest supporters. He has provided escort for 3 different medical missions. Veltar began to understand the full scope of what the humans had accomplished. They had not just solved the plague crisis. They had changed how the entire galaxy thought about the relationship between war and medicine. Dr. Webb, are you planning to end the war? No, we are not politicians or generals. We are medical professionals. Dr. Webb looked at the display showing human medical ships across dozens of systems. But we are changing how the war affects civilians and medical personnel. We are making it impossible for any side to use suffering as a weapon. Admiral Chen added, the war continues, but neutral zones have expanded around every human medical operation. Ceasefires happen whenever our hospital ships arrive. Medical supply routes are protected by mutual agreement between all sides. And more importantly, Dr. Webb continued, other species are adopting our methods. The Kethari medical fleet will become operational next month. 3 other species are building dual-purpose medical ships. The concept is spreading. A new communication alert sounded. This time it was from Earth. Admiral Chen accepted the transmission and the screen showed Human Fleet Command. Admiral Chen, this is Fleet Admiral Martinez. We have received requests from 47 different worlds for human medical assistance. Situations range from natural disasters to industrial accidents to disease outbreaks. 47 requests? Admiral, we only have medical ships in 12 systems right now, which is why Earth Council has approved emergency medical expansion. We are commissioning 200 new medical ships. Half will be new construction. Half will be converted from existing military vessels. Veltar felt amazed. Humanity was committing enormous resources to galactic medical aid. Admiral Martinez, that represents a massive investment. Why is Earth willing to spend so much on helping other species? Fleet Admiral Martinez smiled. Administrator Veltar, Earth has learned something important from this operation. Military strength means nothing if it is not used to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Our ships, our technology, and our people are most powerful when they are saving lives. Besides, Admiral Chen added, every life we save makes the galaxy a more stable and peaceful place. Medical aid is an investment in galactic civilization. After the Earth communication ended, Veltar stood quietly for a moment. He thought about the past 3 months. The humans had arrived at Sanctuary's Grace as a response to a single distress call. Now they were transforming how medical aid worked across the entire galaxy. Dr. Webb, what happens next? Next, we train other species to build and operate their own Mung-Year. After the first human medical fleet arrived at Sanctuary's Grace, Veltar stood in the observation deck of his new ship. The UHNS Mercy's Gift was the first Cathari vessel built using human medical military principles. It looked strange compared to traditional Cathari designs, but it worked perfectly. The ship could transform from a peaceful medical vessel to a formidable defensive platform in minutes. More importantly, its crew had been trained by human instructors. They understood the philosophy that made human medical ships so effective, the absolute commitment to preserving life, backed by the strength to enforce that commitment. Administrator Veltar became Dr. Webb's voice over the communication system. How are the new ship systems working? Veltar smiled as he responded. Perfectly, Dr. Webb. My crew is still adjusting to the dual-purpose design, but they are learning quickly. Yesterday, we treated a wounded Alliance patrol while maintaining full defensive readiness against hegemony raiders. That is exactly how it should work. Medical care continues regardless of external threats. Dr. Webb paused. Are you ready for today's mission? Veltar looked at the mission briefing on his command screen. Today they would be responding to a distress call from the Outer Rim territories. A new plague had appeared among species that had never been contacted before. The Human Medical Network was sending a joint task force, human ships working alongside newly trained alien medical vessels. We are ready. Dr. Webb, Mercy's Gift will join your formation in 30 minutes. The joint task force assembled in deep space. 5 human medical ships worked alongside vessels from 7 different species. Each alien ship had been designed and crewed according to human principles. Each carried both healing technology and defensive weapons. Each was prepared to provide medical aid under any conditions. Admiral Chen's voice came through the fleet communication system. All vessels, this is Admiral Chen. Today's mission represents everything we have worked toward for the past year. We are not just treating a medical emergency. We are demonstrating that the galaxy now has a permanent network dedicated to preserving life. Veltar watched the diverse fleet around him. Cathari bioships worked alongside human dreadnoughts. Zephyrian crystal vessels flew in formation with Alliance patrol cruisers. Former enemies now cooperated to save lives they would never meet on worlds they had never seen. The transformation of galactic medicine had been faster than anyone expected. Within months of the first human medical missions, other species began adopting the combined healing protection model. Military medical corps were established across the galaxy. Medical neutrality became backed by force of arms. More importantly, the major powers had adapted their strategies. The endless three-way war continued, but it no longer prevented medical aid from reaching those who needed help. Neutral medical zones expanded around every crisis. Ceasefires became standard whenever medical ships arrived. Some battles were postponed to allow treatment of casualties. All ships jump in 5 minutes, Admiral Chen announced. Remember, we are going to help species that have never seen aliens before. Our approach will be their first impression of galactic civilization. Make it a good one. The fleet jumped to hyperspace together. When they emerged, they found a solar system in crisis. 3 inhabited worlds were experiencing a plague outbreak. The local species had primitive space travel, but no cure for the disease. Millions were dying. Local vessels detected, reported the tactical officer on Mercy's Gift. They appear to be trying to evacuate their worlds, but they do not have enough ships. Veltar studied the sensor readings. The local species had dozens of small spacecraft desperately moving people between their worlds. They were trying to find safe places for plague victims, but they had no real medical facilities. They were dying despite their best efforts. Admiral Chen began broadcasting on all frequencies. Local vessels, this is Admiral Chen of the Galactic Medical Corps. We have received your distress signals. We are here to provide medical assistance. Please do not be alarmed by our ship configurations. We are here to help. The response was immediate confusion. The local species had been calling for help for weeks, but they had not expected anyone to answer. They certainly had not expected a fleet of massive ships that looked like they could conquer entire star systems. Unknown vessels, came a nervous reply. We asked for medical help, not military invasion. What do you want from us? Dr. Webb's voice joined the conversation. We want to save your people. Our ships may look military, but we are medical professionals. Watch. The human ships began their transformation sequence. Weapons folded away. Medical bays opened. Hospital modules deployed. In minutes, the threatening warships became obviously medical vessels. The alien fleet followed their example, revealing their own medical capabilities. Impossible, whispered the local voice. Your ships? They changed. How is this possible? It is possible because we learned that healing is too important to be left defenseless, Admiral Chen replied. We are launching medical shuttles now. Please prepare to receive aid. Veltar watched as the joint medical fleet went to work. Human shuttles carried advanced equipment to the plague-stricken worlds. Cathari bioships began producing customized medicine for the local species. Zephyrian crystal vessels provided quarantine facilities. Every ship contributed its unique capabilities to the rescue effort. On the Bridge of Mercy's gift, Veltar received regular updates from the medical teams. The plague was being controlled. The local species was cooperating eagerly. No hostile forces had appeared to threaten the operation. Administrator, Dr. Webb called from the surface of the First World. You should see this. The local species is asking about our ships. They want to know how they can build medical vessels that can protect themselves. Already? We have only been here for 6 hours. They understand the concept immediately. Their medical ships have been attacked by pirates for years. They have watched their own doctors die because they could not defend their hospitals. When they see ships that can heal and fight, they know exactly why that is valuable. Veltar smiled. The human philosophy was spreading naturally. Any species that had experienced medical emergencies during conflicts understood why defensive medicine made sense. The idea was so practical that it convinced people immediately. 3 days later, the crisis was over. The plague had been eliminated. The local species had been given the technology to prevent future outbreaks. More importantly, they had been introduced to galactic civilization through a rescue mission rather than through conquest or trade disputes. Admiral Chen, ours came a transmission from Earth Command as the fleet prepared to leave. Priority message from Fleet Admiral Martinez. Admiral Chen accepted the communication. Fleet Admiral Martinez appeared on the main screen with a serious expression. Admiral Chen, we have a new situation developing. Long-range sensors have detected a massive medical emergency in the galactic core regions. Multiple species are affected. Early estimates suggest over 100 million people need immediate assistance. Veltar felt his breath catch. 100 million people. Even with the expanded galactic medical network, that was an enormous number. What kind of emergency? Admiral Chen asked, unknown. The distress signals are not clear, but whatever it is affecting multiple star systems simultaneously. This could be the largest medical crisis in galactic history. Admiral Chen turned to look at her diverse fleet. Human ships, Cathari vessels, Zephyrian craft, and others. A year ago, such cooperation would have been impossible. Now it was routine. Fleet Admiral Martinez, the Galactic Medical Corps, is ready to respond. How many ships can we deploy? All of them. Earth Council has authorized total mobilization. Every medical ship, every trained crew, every allied vessel. We are sending everything we have. Sir, Veltar interrupted. May I ask why Earth is willing to commit so much to help unknown species in distant space? Fleet Admiral Martinez smiled. Administrator, 1 year ago humanity learned something important. The strongest military force in the galaxy is not the one that can destroy the most enemies. It is the one that can save the most lives. When we save lives, we create allies. When we create allies, we create peace. When we create peace, everyone benefits. Besides, Admiral Chen added, 100 million people need help. That is the only reason we need. Dr. Webb's voice came through the communication system from the medical bay. All ships begin preparation for major medical deployment. Check all systems. Review emergency protocols. We have wounded to heal, and healers to protect. Veltar watched as the combined fleet began moving toward the galactic core. Human ships led the formation, but they were surrounded by vessels from dozens of different species. The Galactic Medical Corps had become exactly what Admiral Chen had envisioned, a force dedicated to preserving life wherever it was threatened. The war between the great powers continued in distant sectors. Pirates still raided merchant ships. Political disputes still created conflicts. But now, whenever medical emergencies occurred, help arrived quickly. Powerful help, protected help, help that could not be stopped by military forces or political boundaries. Dr. Webb, Veltar called as Mercy's gift accelerated toward its next mission. Do you think we will ever eliminate Adika?